What's going on, guys? Go Giants! Giants-Dodgers game going on right now. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in to us tonight while we discuss this week's comic news. We have some great topics to discuss like we do every week. We're going to talk a little bit Skybound Expo. We're talking about the return of Comic Man Andy's most favorite title. I think he might be the only one that has to speak on this topic for us tonight, but we'll get to that in just a minute. We're going to talk about a little bit about DC Fandome that's coming up, and we're going to talk about digital comics. That is always a topic of discussion. But before we do all that, let's bring the panelists in, starting with YouTube channels. Tales from the Flip Side comic book channel. Brian McClay.
What's up, brother? Really crazy week.
As Dan calls you, you're the Cal Ripken Iron Man of YouTube comic book channels. I mean,
I'll take it. I appreciate that. Dude, with all the shows, and then it's super excited this week for cons to be going back and people to be talking about them, and we've got a lot of fun weeks ahead and news to get into.
Yes. And speaking of Dan from that YouTube channel, Dank Comics, let's welcome Dan. What's going on, buddy?
What up? Good to see everyone.
Yes, always great to have you in here. I love the point of view that you always bring to these conversations, and I think everyone in the chat does as well. Week in and week out, we get great comments just from Dan's point of view alone. So welcome to another weekly live stream with us. And we also have Tony Fix, Blue Green Artifacts from Instagram.
Oh, what's up, guys? Brian, good to see you. Brian, Dan.
At least it was a decent magazine.
Yeah,
could have been worse.
Yeah,
could have been worse.
Yeah, on the shitter. But and also, he's been MIA for a couple weeks, but we're glad to have him back here. Indie Spotlight Series himself, Mr. Andy Timberland. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, guys? Glad to be back, and appreciate y'all letting me hang.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's been running for office, as you can tell from the poster behind him or something. But
Yep. It's been getting crazy around South Carolina.
It's all that Southern charm.
Yeah. Far from it.
Vote Kavanaugh. Oh no, Ravenel. That's it.
Ravenel.
Yep. Oh, I didn't mean to say it that way, but probably the number one Saga fan, number one Punisher fan, and the behind-the-scene producer of this weekly live stream, and host of his own comic book YouTube channel, Comic Man Andy. What's going on, buddy?
What is up, everybody? Welcome back. It's another fantastic Tuesday. I hope you guys are pumped and you guys are primed, because I'm ready to push some buttons.
Yeah, we'll get into your favorite topic here in a second. I was at King's Dominion in Virginia this weekend at the Halloween haunt, trying to be spooked, but every time my cell phone kept going off because he kept wanting to talk about Saga. And I do want to take a moment to shout out a friend on Instagram, longtime follower and great friend from Virginia himself, Shane. You guys might know him as DC Deadman fan. I had the opportunity to meet him at King's Dominion, so that was awesome. But let's get into these topics, guys. I know one of the topics we often discuss, we've talked about Substack before, but we often talk about digital comics and physical comics. Lately in the news, we got Scott Snyder, who he's just signed a deal with Comixology, and they've created Best Jacket Press and Print. But he believes the future of comics is going to be a happy marriage between print and digital. I don't even want to say that that's future. I think that's kind of here now, but I think it's going to continue to go that trend, especially as we've talked about Substack these past few weeks. We talked about a bunch of these artists and creators that go into Substack. But Snyder in this article talks a lot about Comixology. I think he's also kind of soliciting Comixology a little bit because he just signed a deal with Comixology. But
yeah,
he goes in there and talks about, how it's great because print is a collectible, tactile, communal product, where the part with digital is, hey, you can buy one comic, or with Comixology, you can do the unlimited subscription. There he is upselling Comixology again, but read a bunch of titles for us for a smaller price. This isn't new news, but whenever someone like Scott Snyder comes out and talks about it, it kind of makes news and people bring the conversation back up. So that's what we're doing right here. McClay, what do you think? I mean, I know I do both. For some, I read digital. Even the physicals, I like to read digital, and then I end up going and pick the trade up and even the omnibus for stories that I really like. But where you stand on this, and where do you see this?
I think this is 100% pushed by money right now, right? These guys are seeing like the things happening at these big publishers. You know, DC just gutted, for interns to write books. All the stuff going on with old creators in news about getting screwed over. I would think. All the money that can be made coming up with an idea for a movie or for a TV show. To me, that's what this is all about, and them saving kind of like their asses. Like if I was in their situation, I'd probably do the same thing, right? You're thinking it's a dying thing. Like to me, if the collectability isn't there, like a comic is not just one thing. Like it's like the good thing about comics is there's so many different tent poles under our tent, and the collectability is a big part about it. Same with the physical copy, right? That stuff, that's a big part about it. So that's the only part that I don't understand. Maybe they're just going to continue to give it another heave-ho and another push. It feels like every year or two we have some new person coming out talking about that. But I think more than ever, with the amount of money that's being made in the TV market and video game market and all that stuff, it's stupid for them not to do this, not to try to go to Substack, not to try to.
There's a level of ambiguity in this article too. I don't know if it's the way it was written or the way it was said, but Snyder's quoted talks about when books come out in the direct market, they made a special deal with us where the new title that they have for digital for Comixology, we have Demons, they can do in single issues with variant covers and all that, so they come out in a way that helps the direct market. I'm assuming that they're talking about the physical book at that point, but they don't really go into detail about that.
That'd be cool. I'm all for that then. If you're going to continue to create physical copies and they're, they're small print runs, because of that, I'm all for it. Cool. I'm cool with that. As long as we don't lose Marvel and DC and Image and Boom, if we can still have those and cultivate, other good writers, and that type of stuff, and keep that part of the hobby going, I'm actually, I'll champion, the Substack thing with the small print run, good ideas from your favorite creators, kind of like Kickstarter stuff without the whole rigmarole, hopefully, but we'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of Substack, I'm in the process of trying to get Sir Cates and Stegman with their Substack they got going on. I'm trying to get them in conversations, trying to get them on the channel to find more information out about that.
Well, you can ask him about his Miracle Man cover. Is it a recreation or is it the real one? Now
that's right.
I hear that it's a recreation that what's his name did. Who's the guy that did Miracle Man 1, the art for the cover? I want to say Gleason, but it's not. I'm sorry, I'm old. It's not. It sounds like that, something like that. Anyways,
I think they meant it was a recreation.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Let me see here. Let me look that up. Just to.
While he's looking that up, Cal McMahon, Alberto, Andy. What's your thoughts on digital and physical comics?
I've got a little bit on this. One thing that comes to mind is where we currently sit, and digital comics aren't collectible. They just aren't. That NFTs could change that game in the future, so that's something to pay attention to. But as we sit right now, digital comics aren't collectible. And another thing that a lot of people in the community talk about is why do they cost the exact same as a physical print copy? A large portion of us are buying physical copies to collect and to potentially read, but when we want the convenience of reading digitally, we essentially have to buy the same issue twice. We're paying twice for the same content right now, currently, as it sits with a lot of that stuff, which is why I got to give you a big plug on your Hoopla video on your channel, because you helped me discover Hoopla. And Hoopla, anybody with a library card can get on there and read so many free books on there, from trades to even some current modern reads get on there, and that's fantastic. So I do a lot of Hoopla, but I do Comixology, and I pick up some digital stuff for the convenience factor, but I'm biting that bullet and double and sometimes triple paying for stuff that I've already paid for sitting here. It's just, I'm in that same conundrum of I can't find stuff in my collection sometimes. So instead of spending a week reorganizing and digging through everything, I'll spend the $4 to $8 and go digital, which I guess that's a luxury I kind of appreciate. But where he sits in this article saying that they both will coincide together, I think a lot of us are already there. We're just frustrated with how they're doing it right now.
I like what Ryan over said. I hope they do shrink print runs with more going to digital, including less variant covers.
One time, wasn't it DC and both Marvel? They did shrink print runs. They got rid of titles to go digital only, and then they started bringing them back like Psych.
Yep. Yeah. At what was that Ice-T song? We don't die, we multiply. Color.
That's it.
Gary Leach was the name of the guy who did Miracle Man's cover.
Dang.
Yeah. So
note taker.
I've been I've been saying this is what has to happen on many different panel shows. I've been talking about this for a long time. You have print and digital. You bring down the price point of digital, or you have the subscription model. Because Comixology, they're Amazon, right?
Yeah.
That
is correct.
So they're trying to be the Netflix of digital comics, right? And initially, when that was happening, you had the physical mediums, and and the industry lost a lot of money because they weren't selling DVDs anymore, right? But ultimately, in the end, now the industry's like having a boon with so much money now with streaming. This is that transitional thing, and print media won't go away because the nature of the consumer base right now is it's secondary market based. Like all of us are buying things on the secondary market. There's us as a consumer, so that will always be available. So you can always, print what people order, create the digital at a smaller price point, or a digital subscription where maybe you release it a couple of days later, right? So that you still have that, like release those on a Friday or something in that giant subscription based thing. People still get the comic because it's that exclusive read. It's that cultural moment of everyone reading at the same time, getting those first appearances and all that. Then later, a couple of days later, it's digital, and that's good for the people that read subscriptions. And then you're getting millions of new readers, right? So this is like there's millions of potential readers because in other markets in Asia, they have millions upon millions of readers, and we don't. Our consumer base is a fraction of that. We need to think about that. This is just being realistic, but definitely a subscription model seems to be the way it goes. I mean, it just works. It turns out it works, even though it seems counterintuitive at first. We discover it works, and Amazon Prime is one of the top 3 streaming services. I guess they're estimating it's gonna be Disney, Netflix, and Amazon Prime is the 3 biggest streaming services in 5 years. And that's Amazon, I guess, and Bezos is gonna go to the moon as we keep, reading these comics, I guess.
You know what I think would be smart, and James Hake kind of was onto this with Scout Comics, where he did the number 1 issue, right, for collectability, and then they did the trade paperback for digestive. What if they took that model and did the hybrid? Everyone wants a number 1 issue, so they do a physical number 1 issue, and then they do, as that print run naturally drops off, they start doing digital. So you have your collectible physical number 1 issue, and then you get readers into.
Yes, Scoot is doing that. Scout's Child Imprint, they're doing that like crazy, and I think it's awesome. It makes a lot of sense, and a lot of retailers lament how everyone just doesn't buy issue 2, and it's just like such a nightmare for retailers. And that is like also another great alternative.
I got a question. Some of you guys might know the answer. So Comixology, does it offer manga?
I believe it does.
Okay, so is there a lot of digital manga readers, or do manga readers still want to read physical copies over digital?
There's a lot of digital comic readers, and they're doing the webtoons model, where every panel fits this thing. So
is there more? I'm talking about like in just the manga readership, like like even over in Japan and other countries, because they're selling so much manga, right? It's the number one selling
yeah.
in print thing. But do they consider like sales to do they consider digital things sales in those too, or like how do they get those numbers? And if so, what's the preference over there? Is it physical or digital copies? That's my question. I'd love to know.
I think it's slowly converting. I've done research on this a little bit because I study the Asian, but it's slowly converting into this webtoon model. I'm just going to call it the webtoon model, this format where each panel fits this, aspect ratio, and it's a subscription-based model, and it's slowly becoming the dominant model, and millions of people. I mean, I think webtoons generated like $300 million this year or something in sales. And then all those things are becoming Netflix properties. Like a lot of those Korean dramas are webtoons turned into live action. But slowly but surely, this is becoming the model. And once you get used to it, I know it's like hard for us, but once you get used to it, it's not bad. And if you take like Watchmen, which is like that 9-panel thing, which is sort of that aspect ratio, it can work. We just need to think about adapting.
You're introducing the death of the splash page.
But it's just like we gotta be realistic, yo. Like
can't we just go to like iPad size ratio?
But everyone doesn't have good iPads necessarily.
I got one for you. What about when those Ray-Ban glasses come out, or those special glasses? They can just put it right on your
yes,
eyesight.
if there's
Google
augmented reality can do that too.
Oculus
and then
comic books,
the NFT comics, right? They have augmented reality versions of them where you can turn
that's
the page
awesome.
and it's physical.
That's actually cool.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. And to be honest, this idea of this is already a thing of the past, folks. Like, we are getting the contact lens with the augmented computer interface.
We'll have a chip straight in our
It's
head
coming, and we're
Tesla
gonna just yeah.
If I can add to Dan's comment about how that's kind of molding or changing a bit overseas, also when it comes to manga readers, the bulk of them still use that cafe mindset or cafe model where they don't have the space to store and buy a ton of stuff like we do. Living conditions are vastly different overseas, so a lot of people go to these manga cafes and actually sit but they're still reading physical copies. But for the hundreds of people that go to these,
yes,
yeah,
they have manga libraries all over.
That's actually pretty cool.
you
Yeah,
can rent out a little room. But so for every 100 people that go into that, that's a 99 copies that didn't get sold.
You know what I used to call that here in the States? Borders and Barnes and Noble. That was a library cafe for magazines and comics.
Tony, what's your thought?
I, before my current profession in contracting, I was a teacher for many years, and I did go. I was teaching overseas in Korea and China, and that was my only source of comic books for 6 years. Was digital. That's the only way I could get comic books. And I had a little iPad or whatever the Microsoft version was, the Zoom, I think it was called. And I liked it. I mean, it was during the Marvel Now period, so I was reading like the Jason Aaron run, Thor: God of Thunder, all of that stuff. That's how I consumed all that, and it's like Dan was saying, it's just something you get used to. The way it shifts from cell to cell works really nice, as long as you don't press the wrong part of the screen and then you get back up and you get all pissed off. But I can't tell you how many bus stops or subway stops I missed because I was like into a comic book. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta turn around and go back 35 minutes now. So I don't have any problem with digital at all. Obviously, I mean, I'm sitting on thousands of actual physical books, and yeah, I'd rather read a real book too. But there's a lot of collectors, like Ken Tankerous was saying. There's a lot of people who are in this for the collectible, I mean, it's dangerous reading with the paper quality in some of these publishers. It's dangerous to open it up. You got to be, if you got kids, you're like, stay away, get that food away from me right now. Just wait a second, I'm going to read this. And then, you got to be so careful if you want a possibly pristine copy, or you buy two of them, one to read and one to keep, or you buy one and read digital, or some people just skip the floppies. They don't read the floppies at all until it comes out in graphic novel. Maybe they wait till issue 7 or 8, and pick up the trade. So I think there's a lot of different kind of readers, there's a lot of different kind of collectors. The direct market itself, isn't the reason they went to direct market to protect the publishers from a lot of that risk? I mean, most comics are not returnable like magazines and newspapers like they used to be. So
Different world. That direct market isn't there anymore.
Right. Yeah. If your print run is low enough, you could lose money, but as long as you're pricing the right way and not wasting a ton of money on admin and other functions of the company, the risk is with the local comic shops. If they order too much and can't move it, they're stuck. So I don't know. I think he's probably right. There's going to be a hybrid. There's a lot of people who will, they will die never having read a digital comic and be proud of it. Who'll swear it off completely. I think it'd be, you've seen a lot of those comic companies where it's got the code and you can redeem the code to get the digital version. You could put a little barcode right on the back cover, and you just flash your camera at it, where it could pull up a digital version of that.
You don't want to buy shit, man. They just go to the store and scan the QR code and be like,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know.
Peace.
I grew up in a time where there was this thing called torrents, and there was these things called there was a program called C Display, and a lot of people that I knew that grew up in that time loved it, and read a lot of books that way.
Yeah, between you.
That's how I read all those digital books in China. There was no Comixology where I could go on and buy them. I just went and downloaded them from whatever torrent website I could find.
Yeah.
Don't tell the authorities.
Tomberlin.
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to me, I'm old school on it. So I mean, I got a little peeper here.
He might want digital.
I think he's going to be the digital crowd.
Yeah.
All right.
My youngest is a digital guy for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got to have the book. Like, I don't know. It just takes away from the experience if I'm not reading the book, and I could not get the same thing out of it if I read it, in my hand versus digital. So to me, I like the physical copy. I think, like Brian said earlier, James Hake, he's definitely on to some things, and I think he could change the game coming up. You never know with what he's got going on. But whether I like it or not, I think he's right. I mean, I think the future is digital. Whether I like it, whether any of us like it, that's what it's going towards. And I think, Andy, you hit on it too. Like, this NFT thing is something to watch, because if they can figure that out and give it some kind of collectability through that, can you transfer that to the comic itself? I mean, theoretically, yes. So I don't know. I'm old school, but I do think he's right. I think it is a thing of the future for sure, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. One of the things I think that's great about digital is I think you have a lot more creative freedom within digital, that you can really do some innovative stuff with storytelling. But then it comes at pause with creators, because how much are you going to alienate your base if you create too much difference from the digital side, from the physical side? Because then you will have people complaining like, what the hell, this is just a money grab. I got to buy the physical good because I want it, but now I got to go buy the digital because there's this part of the story or whatever part they're trying to introduce to me. But I do both. I do digital and physical. I've seen And I don't think the future marriage is the future. I think marriage of digital and physical is the present, and we're seeing it. But
Yeah.
Can I ask? I have Comixology on my phone, and I don't subscribe to it though. How does the subscription work? Do you get everything with a subscription, or do you just get access to most of their catalog, and then the new stuff you still have to pay for? How does it work?
Well,
It's more like the latter.
yeah.
we got Kevin Hamilton. If he's in the chat, he's got a subscription also.
I did Comixology for over a year and a half with Modern Men over on the Comic Core because of the convenience factor, right? And the introductory rate of, well, it was like a couple of bucks at first, and then like Kevin was saying, it's like $4.99 or $5.99. The convenience factor is there. It's great, but you don't get access to everything. They do run specials, but there's some primetime titles that you're paying full $40, $30, $40, $50 retail pricing for. There's some big name writers that are out there and that are on there, that have their stuff on there that you're not getting a deal on. You're not getting a deal on the New Wednesday books. You're paying cover price for New Wednesday books if you want to read it before you get to your LCS.
Do you think they do that to protect the printing? Like if Boom Studios came out with a subscription model and said, hey, you pay, whatever it is, $5.49 a month, you can read all of our titles every month for free, it'd probably make Boom a lot of money, but that would kill their printing sales.
I don't think they do it to protect the printing. I think they do it to protect Comixology and Amazon's earnings, to be honest with you, first and foremost.
They need like the AMC A list for comics.
See, that's weird though, because Amazon, they undersell their digital books and audiobooks on purpose. They do that on purpose, and they take a loss on purpose to swallow the entire market, create a monopoly, and then they raise their that's their usual model. So I'm surprised they didn't do that already with Comixology, to be honest. But digital will prevent us from yelling at our children to stay away from our funny books. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's great if you're a minimalist, which I'm not because I got shit all over this room. But speaking of the future of comics, NYCC, in case you guys weren't aware, New York Comic Con was this past weekend. And one of the announcements that came out of there was something that Alberto Jefe over there was like super excited about.
Oh my God. Don't panic. Don't freak out. This is actually legit and not rumor. Thanks to Brian K. Vaughan at New York Comic Con panel this weekend, Saga is coming back. And it is official with issue 55, January 22nd or 26th, right here, actually. And I am tickled. I got goosebumps everywhere. It's finally back. I never gave up hope. I knew that this was coming back. It was just a matter of when and how they were going to be able to do it. And this was such a crazy weekend. My phone was constantly going off every couple of minutes, and it was just nuts. That panel hit, and literally you got people sitting in the panel dropping pictures on Twitter and IG and other places, and my phone kept blowing up as these things were coming in live. Like literally, we're just at home doing things, and I just keep getting this live stream from friends and everybody out in the community. It was fantastic because I actually felt like I was at New York Comic Con thanks to everybody in the community, even though I didn't get a chance to go. And Kevin, real quick, I will bounce right over to that. I got to give a big shout out to Paul Dunn on IG, who spent a chunk of his convention time and made this happen for me. Like random IG live phone call. Like, what is going on? Oh my God, you're in line. Oh my God, that's Brian K. Vaughan. Oh my God,
Matt DeVoe? Oh, that's Brian K. Vaughan.
I am so pumped and so amped, and I hope you guys have some input on this, because I know I am like through the moon with Saga. We're getting 54 more issues. That is another 4.5 years of regular releases from Saga, if not a little bit more, depending on breaks. That's 12 issues a year, 4.5 years, could be 5. I don't know, but it's back, and I'm going to get to experience the rest of this story issue to issue, and I'm just over the moon. I got to know what you guys think.
I'm reading it digitally.
Well, I'll pipe in. I mean, as you know, Andy, I'm a Saga fan along with you. I don't know if my blood is alien blue like yours might be, but
True.
that that's the book that kind of brought me back into comics again. Whatever it was, about 6 years ago when I picked it up and started reading. I'm excited. I really want to get a hold of one of those copies like yours. I don't know. They're going for a good 100, 120, 130, 150 now, but one of those advanced versions of that 55. But no, man, I'm.
That's just a print. It's not even an issue. All it is a print. Those things it's literally, I don't have it. Paul's going to mail it to me here soon, but it's just a print of the cover. It's not an issue.
Oh, I thought it was the issue.
No, it's not out, right?
So did I. I was panicking all weekend thinking, oh my God, it's an issue. I got to find one. But no, it's not. It's just a print. Sorry.
Okay. Well, that helps my decision-making on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But
that's even more impressive that they're going for $150.
What?
I think they're listed as advanced copies. I think that's why people
Oh man,
Little bait and
that's so
switch.
stupid. That's so dumb.
no. But I'm an option guy. I love, when I read something awesome on screen or on the page, I do envision it on screen. I love movies. I want to see that eventually, somehow, somewhere. I really do. But I think it's going to be a long time. If we're only halfway through, he's not going to pull a Game of Thrones and have the movies try to outpace the comics.
Whew, yeah, I not the biggest Saga fan. I'll be straight up, but I mean, I'll be interested to see how this goes. Yeah, Andy, you win the award on on the Saga enthusiasm. But
You got like a Saga letter jacket. I'm kidding.
oh yeah,
That would be awesome.
There's all kind of stuff. There you go. Look at that.
Broke
Yeah,
out
Andy,
the whole family. Broke out the
I-
whole family for this weekend.
You should
I
see his
put up-
horns.
I just put up my second print 9.8 and my fifth print 9.8 on eBay.
Wait, what you got to no, pull those down, man.
Yeah, I mean, and dude, I'm looking at these prints. I mean, the cheapest one now is like $199. So that says pretty good bit about the fan base. So, I mean, I know a lot of people are excited for it. So it'll be good to see what happens.
Saga is a really unique property that has like way more crossover appeal than most comic book series. There's a lot of non-comic book readers that read Saga. It reminds me more than anything of Watchmen, to be honest, in its crossover appeal, and it's like heat and how everyone's dying to see it become live action. So there's like so much heat building for it to become like so much hope and aspirations for it. Yeah, so congratulations, Andy. On your...
Yeah, I'd definitely say like Andy was up here, and then I was just, I hate to say it, I was more like, meh.
Well,
me-
I got a question. Why are they only doing, what is it, 98 issues? Are they only doing 98
104.
issues? 104? Okay. Sorry. Well, how many? Yeah, you're right. 104. Why are they only doing 104? Why 54 and 54?
Why does
whatever
Brian
it is.
K. Vaughn do the things he does? I don't know. That's for maybe something
108.
he'll answer in time.
I was about to say that's 108. Y'all's math
Yeah,
is like
108.
9.
Yeah.
Whoops. Yeah, that is
How many
correct.
did Walking Dead do?
Like
107?
They got to like some weird
180
number, right?
something?
Kurtman was just like, I'm out.
No, I'm way off. Walking Dead was almost.
I mean, it's
just
way
shy of
more than that, but it was
190. I think Walking Dead ended in 197.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was like a random.
Silly.
Maybe
But
he's doing like a lyrical
This doesn't seem
pattern.
random.
Yeah.
They had a huge hiatus at 54, and they're going to do another 54 issues, like 54.
That's the Saga, the damn hiatus. I mean,
Yeah.
I like
Oh, yeah.
almost completely forgot about it. It's like, oh yeah, what happened there?
There's
That's
a whole
good
generation.
momentum. The good thing is it's an attractive title, and I will say, Saga, if you haven't read it, which most people have, it's one of the best comic books. If you want, and it's one of the best stories to get someone into comic books. Like, my wife has read the hardcovers. I've gotten the hardcovers. I've got floppies. I got trades. There's that slipcase, all 9 volumes of the trade paperbacks that was just going up for full final word cut off not too long ago. Those will be available. They come with exclusive prints in it as well. You know, you can pay $150 for the whole thing, maybe even less, and get 6 prints instead of paying $150 for one print. But
you guys, so 108 is actually the number of beads in a mala necklace that's used for meditation in Buddhism and different cultures, like in Tibet and stuff. It's 108 is the number. And you go around. It's like, so it could be related to that. It's some sort of spiritualism, symbolism.
That's cool. That's what I mean. That's not random at all.
But it's a famous number in Buddhism and yeah.
Let's play a little game. Everybody, what's your prediction for the print run for issue 55? Andy, what you got?
It's not going to be anywhere near as high as I think people might speculate.
No variance, none of that stuff.
There's no variance. There's nothing. So I think the print run's going to be pretty standard coming from Image. To be honest with you, I mean, if we look
standard for Saga is what, 70 around there?
Yeah, I think is 55 to 65, roughly, just under 70. Issue 1 was about 37 or 36-ish thousand copies. I think the fan base that's there now is probably going to push this in the realm. This is just my honest guess based on the fan bases. We're going to probably see somewhere between 80 and 100,000. I think we're going to see.
North. I'm saying 170.
I'm thinking maybe double from what we were seeing before. Is the fan base is there, but to be honest with you, a lot of people kind of moved on after three-year hiatus. And we forgot to mention that it was full 3 years.
Shot, man. We got to find out who shot JR.
Yeah.
All right. So Andy, you got, what did you say, 80?
I'll go with 100,000.
100. Okay. Brian's at 170. What about you, McClay?
170.
I'm saying I think 80 to 100 is probably smack dab.
$1
All right,
off.
Dan?
Yeah, same, because it's issue 55, y'all. You know, and a lot of the kids that love the series, the crossover, they're reading trade. They're not reading it in single issue. They never did. So I'd be surprised if it.
Man,
Right.
if Spawn
Andy,
can
what you
sell
got?
the way it's selling,
Yeah.
they're going to put some power behind Saga marketing.
I think it's going to be lower. Like I mean, first thinking, 100,000, but I don't think. I'm thinking you're going to be like 60 to 70 in that range.
If this is Price is Right rules, then you might be the winner.
$1, Bob.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
I'm gonna go on record. I'm up there with Brian. I think. I mean, the print run is going to be determined solely by the LCSs, right? There aren't retailer variants. It's just how many copies they want to have on the shelf. Saga trades, Saga back issues, those move for local comic shops. So I don't think they will mind having a stack of these sit on the shelf for, a couple months if that's what it takes to get rid of them. And I think, this is the title that they're going to push on their readers, a lot of the readers who don't know anything about Saga. So
They're paying $150 for a print, bro.
I'm going to go, you said 170, I'm going to go 170,001. There we go.
Price is Right.
After a 3-year hiatus, it's the first copy back, and people aren't going to wait for that trade. The fan base for Saga is not going to wait for that trade to come out. That first arc is done. So literally, it's 6 months later, however long later they're going to release the trade, but the fans aren't going to wait for the trade. So I'm still kind of sticking to my guns around 100,000, maybe plus or minus a few thousand, but
Yeah, I'm thinking lower end. I really do.
All right. Well, mark this timestamp right here.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and check it out.
Yeah, this is a show to mark anyway. Drew's first appearance was on here, so make sure keep it marked. You never know; he could do big things.
Yeah. So we are coming to the end of Comic-Con season, right? I mean, New York Comic-Con just happened. We got Baltimore coming up with a bunch of us are going to. But also, we got those virtual ones. We got Skybound Expo coming, which is a bunch of great stuff. And one of the big news coming out of Skybound Expo, we originally had the news in June, right? But, Dan, we got a Lego comic with Skybound coming, right?
Yes, Skybound is going to be releasing a bunch of Lego books, and so initially I thought Lego was going to make Skybound properties, but it's the other way around, right? But This is interesting because this sort of deal you would expect from a Marvel or DC, right? This kind of major merging of corporate conglomerates, like having a little orgy. But using Skybound is it says a lot about the nature, maybe the future of the industry. Maybe like independent creators, more independent companies do have a place, and these major big, the big two are not necessarily the hegemonic entities that we always thought they were, especially if like they're gonna make Lego comics. So we'll see. I mean, that's interesting, and I would love to see Lego sets of Skybound properties. Like a Walking Dead Lego set. Like. I mean, they go nuts.
Like the fake Legos on those.
Oh yeah, they got fake Legos of all kinds of stuff.
Well, yeah,
like a kink dungeon, whatever that you want in Lego.
A whole bunch of stuff. But
Human size. Made out of Legos.
TV producer from Lego Ninjago, right, is going to be there. Secret Life of Bricks, Daniel Konstanty, Haley Wolf, aka Sensei Wolf. They're going deep with this Lego and Skybound collaboration, so it'll be anxious to see. And they're going to actually announce the title of their first Lego book at Skybound Expo, which is coming up here.
You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait for the backlash when Topher puts out a post that says, "I told you Lego books."
Hey, I was about to say the same thing. I wonder what this will do for that Star Wars Lego book.
Hell yeah, bro. Tony's over there. He's got a ton of those Lego books, man.
I got a small stack myself, and I mean, I think it makes it more legit myself.
Hey, man. I say you can sell just about anything. There's somebody out there that wants what you got. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, there've been sales on that book too, $55 to $100. Like it's no slouch.
Yeah. Skybound Expo is October 29th, and they got a bunch of the great panels in there. I don't know if I've had Sean Kirkham on this channel. I know Andy, you've had Sean Kirkham on Tales from Flipside. If you're not familiar with Comics Vault Live, they're having a Comics Vault Live on that same day. Pay attention also because they will start announcing the books that are going to be in that Comics Vault Live this week. I tried to get some secret details out. They're like, nope, not giving it to you, but they are going to start revealing the books that are going to be in Comics Vault Live. They have some other great panels on there. Former co-host of this channel, Jack DeMeo, he's doing a sneakerhead panel on there. So if you guys are sneakerheads, they got a Skybound sneakerhead panel. But it's a one-day event, October 29th. And you can follow on skybound.com, has a bunch of the details for it.
They're going to have Mike Mayhew do a sneaker variant. You watch.
You think? What have they been is it KRS? Who's he been doing the sneaker variants for?
I thought it was Mike Mayhew that's been just putting them out.
Mayhew.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
It's like what you're buying comics with two sneakers on it that just have different colors each time.
Yeah,
it's pretty genius.
And
Andy, don't let that one sneak up on you.
Yeah. Hey, somebody told me an Andy dad joke this week based on Star Wars. They said, "Where did Luke get his cybernetic hand?"
From his father?
The second-hand store. He told me that on the show. I go, I'm going to tell Andy that.
Andy's going to use that within the next 50 minutes.
Yeah, our youngest came down halfway down the stairs this weekend and some evening with his joke, and he was like, how does a bee comb his hair? With a honeycomb. And he just giggled and went back upstairs.
I love that, man. I love that.
But yeah, Skybound Expo, October 29th. Make sure you guys tune into that. Another great friend of the channel, Attack Peter. If you guys aren't familiar with Attack Peter, he does these awesome screen prints, the old school style. I'll mess it up because I said block print once, and that's not the right name. He corrected me for good reason. But he has all types of prints up there. He's been doing those Comics Vault Live variants as well for Invincible and Ultra Mega. But if you're a fan of that kaiju style art, definitely check out Attack Peter on Skybound Expo, and make sure you guys check him out on YouTube. But
did you see, Brian? He's got a statue. I think it's with Mondo, a Godzilla statue. It looks amazing, man.
Yes, and
So
one of the
cool.
nicest guys. Make YouTube, follow him on Instagram. Very approachable, really awesome guy. His art is freaking fantastic. I can't say enough
Yeah.
good things about it. But speaking of another one, we got Skybound Expo, but we also have coming up DC Fandome. A lot of people don't talk about DC that much, it seems, but I'm still in love with DC. I think it's a great time to buy DC books because a lot of people aren't talking about it. But we're going to get a bunch of good news, just like they have D23 and all that MCU news that comes out. Fandom has their own event now with a bunch of announcements and trailers and everything that's coming on, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be a lot of stuff that we cared about a while ago that I think just now, because it's DC, like DC just has that big cloud hanging over them, that we're going to get updates on. And I think you're right. I think it's kind of weird. Not a lot of people are talking about it. A lot of people didn't even know about it when I talked to them the other week. But we're going to get some we going to get some new Batman trailer footage, I think.
Black Adam.
Yeah, Black Adam, Flash, Shazam, Aquaman movies. They're going to do a couple games, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, Gotham Knights games. So people are probably stoked about the Gotham Knights stuff. Peacemaker stuff. Everybody loved, Peacemaker, John Cena in that last movie. I actually watched that movie for the first time the other day, and it was okay. He was good. He wasn't bad. I think he's a good character to play on, and I think that he fits the part perfectly. Like his kind of bad acting like helps the role out. So which is interesting. So people are pretty stoked about that. It's so weird to me that the DC, something like this that DC doesn't push the excitement the way that Marvel or Disney does it. You know what I mean? It's so weird that the way that is.
I think a lot of that has to do with the DCU just taking a bunch of hits over the movie releases.
Yeah.
Track
Wonder
record.
Woman 84. I mean, it doesn't
Suicide
have
Squad.
Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't anything fancy.
Yep.
I mean,
Track
it was a
record.
cool movie. Yeah.
And I think with the distribution changing with comics, right? But with Lunar, I think if you ask retailers, I think they like Lunar better than Diamond, but it's just that whole not being in previews that people know, or the release coming out, you don't get as much marketing or buzz behind it. That word of mouth, foot traffic. DC still making some great stories. I do want to agree with Mitch that put in here a couple weeks ago. We were talking about DC books about. I think there's more Batman books than X-Men books right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Freaking
Batman
nuts.
89, Batman like
Imposter,
reptiles, weird
Batman is
stuff.
sus.
Yeah. It is it's a crazy world right now in DC, and I don't know, I'm pretty down, I'm pretty low on it. We had a fun exchange over DC last night on the Flipside show. I go recommend everybody check that out. It was very interesting, and I think that there's also kind of something for being a comic fan, like as long as a lot of us have been comic fans, and to like how bad it really is. It really feels that bad. Like I can't think of a DC book that, right off the top of my head that I'm like, I can't wait to read that. You know what I mean? It's very hard for me to do that anymore. Things change. Some of their stuff that they're doing, like the non-superhero stuff, is interesting. We love some of the writers they find here and there, but it just feels like the quality isn't there, and I think that's very evident also from our first story of the night with all the so many writers jumping, big names at DC jumping ship. Right? I mean, just jumping ship, and saying it with Deuces on the way out. Like, thank God I'm getting out of here. Like there's no bones about it. Jeff Johns, Scott Snyder, Capullo, I think, had the same kind of issue. All those bigwigs were like, we don't want anything to do with Gary Frank. Like, just we don't even care about paying us what you owe us. We just want to go create something somewhere else, and that's a big deal. But the only thing that I think that can change it around is if we get some really good content out of stuff like maybe Sandman, right? Let's hope Sandman gives them some love. Some of the stuff they're putting out, you know, on HBO Max takes off a little bit more. The Titans and
I'm excited for Green Lantern.
Green Lantern, that's another big one. There's some things that could save it. I don't think Batman's it. Not the Batman that they're creating right now, not anymore. And I don't think it'll be interesting to see what the Black Adam is. I think that'll be very interesting. But I don't think the Suicide Squad's it anymore. I don't like the tone. Just doesn't seem fun anymore. They've got to freshen it up. They've really got to freshen it up in a good way and good stories. I think I've heard a lot of people say it that, you know, work in the industries is good writing will always win out. Good stories will always win out. No matter what character it is, who, you know, like let's get some good, really good stories in there, and then just not changing paths too quickly. I feel like all the DCU big movies are always like kicking out a director like halfway through the movie or right where they get, you know, ready to finish post or finish, like, you know, filming.
Marvel did that.
Yeah, Marvel did it too, but Marvel is good at that. You know what I mean? Their character, I don't know what it is with Marvel. It's Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige just runs a really tight ship over there, you know. Right. So it's very interesting.
Awesome.
We'll see what we get.
Now, I do like Marvel more than the DC universe, but there's books that I like. I think it's a great buying opportunity though for DC books. Not even just the modern. I think there's still the Bronze Age. I think is super undervalued. And now's the perfect time to get some of those books while people aren't talking about them, because they're gonna be. Because back when New 52 was hot, everyone was talking about DC and how crappy Marvel was, and Dan Slott's Spider-Man, and then it's just the opposite way now. So the pendulum's gonna shift back at some point. And I think Far Sector, I think, is a book that people aren't paying much attention to. I mean, you got her now in the regular Green Lantern title, the Teen Lantern. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that I think people aren't talking about at the moment, but will be at some point. But I think you make a lot of great points as far as the optics of creators leaving. And
you know what I think is a great something that could really help DC right now, if done in a really good, gritty, cool way, TV show type way or something, is get into some of those weird properties that they own, like Authority. Right, they get into like doing some Authority stuff. Like that could be so cool, man. And those characters were written so well, and by two like great writers did those main series at the time. Were just killing it, and it was good. It was good stories, and it felt really good. I remember it was so good. Same with, you know, some like those Bronze Age stuff that you're talking about. Those old Swamp Thing, Alan Moore stuff. You know, stuff like that. If we can get some of that stuff, really getting some energy behind it and, you know, some luck, I think that could change.
Because it wasn't long ago everyone was talking about some Punchline, and, you know, all those books were taken off. It's just the attention's elsewhere now. But I don't know, Dan, what do you think?
I agree that DC comics are super undervalued. It's a huge opportunity. I'm excited for Fandome because I want secret announcements. I want surprise announcements because I got a bunch of keys. I'm like, oh man, please, Fandome, you know, Naomi, Farsa, like, tell me. I also think, though, the dominance of Marvel, I'm saying I think they're done. I think they're on their way out, to be honest. Like, Venom is not a MCU property, and it killed it. It did so much better than Shang-Chi and Black Widow, right? Surprised everyone, because I think the mainstream public cannot take all of the continuity stuff, right? And DC seems to be working a little more on the Elseworlds model, where everything is kind of its own thing, so it allows anyone to just jump in. And I think we're at that moment now. I think, like, and if you look, and, you know, I know you said Feige's, like, you know, steward or whatever, but right now, if you look at What If, Loki, and Endgame, I don't know what the fuck's going on. It seems like it looks like DC, to be honest. When you look at these three properties and the rule set, it looks like DC was. You know, it looks like they're turning into DC now, where it's like so convoluted and confusing that, because, you know, like DC has the TV stuff and the movies, so that's also convoluted and confusing. But I feel like they're gonna start being more fresh, and then you get the milestone people like Static will come out, you know, like bring in the ABC line from Alan Moore, Planetary. There's like stuff they can do that can really blow people away, and their animation division, I would say, is their like one of their shining, you know, beacons of
way better than Marvel's.
Yeah,
animation.
way better than Marvel. But I think their time is coming now because their heroes are a little more, I don't know, they're like easier, they're simpler sort of in a way. And I think the audiences are just getting a little mainstream, not us, because we have different ideas about this. I think the mainstream public is going to start to shift, and I'm already seeing it in the numbers, and I'm studying all the numbers. I'm like, wait, this looks like it's happening. And since I saw Endgame, I knew it. I was like, oh, you cure death and you have time travel. So long, you know, like I'm like, goodbye. You have fragmented your universe beyond, you know, audiences you lose the unconscious stakes of everything when you do that, and I don't think mainstream audiences can take it, but we'll see.
Yeah, all great points.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think the excitement with DC Fandome is going to be, like Dan said, the announcements. I think HBO Max, I mean, they've had some genuine hits. Titans is doing well. There's some other, you know, we know about some exciting stuff in the works. I think there's a lot more. Like you said, it looks like Amazon and Netflix and Disney are going to dominate. Well, HBO Max Warner Brothers is going to throw a lot of money to make sure that HBO Max is in that mix too. I would imagine they're probably going to throw more money in their HBO Max stuff than they are in the features for a while. But
it'd be fine if they get out of their own way.
Yeah, and I like that Elseworlds model. I like how you can do, okay, now we're doing a gritty Batman. Okay, now we're going to do a fun Nightwing. I don't know, whatever. But it does make things a lot more unpredictable. Like, you can have a huge flop like Birds of Prey in the middle of all that, and that tarnishes the things around it, whether it should or not.
I think the Spice Girls movie was better than Birds of Prey.
But you still had Joker and Aquaman that did better than anyone expected.
Shazam was great.
DC has had some hits, definitely. They failed at emulating the MCU, along with the Dark Universe, the horror, you know,
absolutely
all the shared universes that have tried to emulate the MCU have failed in that. And I think they gave up on that kind of. They'll have a few characters, you know, that they'll share or jump between. But I think the future's bright for them on screen, doing whatever movies they want to do with HBO Max. In the print world, I have no idea. You know, if you look at the sales figures from like 5 years ago, Batman Who Laughs, I mean, that was only like 4 years ago. I mean, the top 10 was mostly DC for a lot of those months. So it wasn't that long ago that DC was, you know, a dominant force in the printing side. They're not now, but I guess they could turn it around. I don't know.
Wait, McClay, so Marvel comics make you more excited than DC comics?
They do now. They not in the day, and that's one of the reasons why I was talking, you know, about how like us older, like us people who kind of grew up in that time period, DC was it. Like DC was always better than Marvel to me, you know, like story, like good story wise, like changing, like, you know, you look at like Watchmen, you know, the Vertical line, Watchmen, Batman, all the Frank Miller stuff, you know, Swamp Thing, like all that stuff growing up, all the Batman stuff was so great from like, you know, Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil up, you know what I mean? And the Green Lantern stuff, the Jeff Johns Green Lantern stuff was one of my top favorite all time, you know, storylines in any comics, anything, you know. There was just like during that time period, it was the greatest comics. Now I love it's flip-flopped. It's exactly like you guys were talking about. It's completely flip-flopped right now. It's really weird. And I just think that right now DC's putting out garbage compared to what Marvel's putting out by far.
It does seem like they're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yes.
I'm with Mitch here. Indie comics make me most excited. When I first had an income, mowing lawns, whatever, was when Image first started. Image and a lot of those other titles were putting out the sci-fi stuff that I was really interested in, and fantasy stuff that I was really interested in. Sure, I was still buying some Marvel and some DC stuff, but I'm with Mitch here. Indie books are still what make me the most excited, and DC is going to have to work real hard to get me to put something on my pull list regularly. There's still stuff that the community pushes me towards because they're like, Andy, you're really missing out on something. I appreciate that tremendously because this community is helping me expand my reading portfolio, if you will. But for the most part, DC, I walk right by the shelves and take a quick peek, and I'm like, there's no Nice House on the Lake. There's no this, and see you later.
There's a Jeff Lemire Batman and Robin coming up, or actually Robin and Batman.
I did see that, and Jeff, that piques my interest because of Lemire.
I think Mitch is right about you can just jump in and go. That's the thing. It's just not indie comics are not muddled up with continuity that doesn't make sense. It's just like doesn't make if you really like add up all the numbers. It's just like how many years is this?
Yeah, it's so convoluted, man. It really is.
I'm freaking lost on it like 90% of the time. So yeah, I'm with Mitch. Indies for the win for me all day long. DC. I mean, yeah, I think like Dank said, there's definitely probably some money to be made on back issues right now. I think that's definitely something to look at, but I don't know. They just don't do it for me right now. But if you're in it for the flips, definitely some stuff worth paying attention to over there.
Tomorrow,
they do seem to be on the right note with that horror line though, like Nice House on the Lake, some of their Black Label stuff. It almost seems like an indie, you know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Nice House on the Lake like it's not even a DC book.
It's basically like their Vertigo imprint now.
You guys read Soul Plumber?
I heard about it. I really want to check it out.
It was so much better than I thought.
Really?
Oh man!
It sounds so freaking like out there and just like a cool story.
I couldn't believe DC even made it. To be honest, it's so edgy and like freaky. It felt like something like from Joe Schmalky or whatever from Scout or whatever. Like,
do we know who like heads up that line over there for them? And do they have somebody over there that's just kind of like running stuff? Like Karen Berger or Jeanette Kahn back in the day, and
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. Young Animal is dead, isn't it? Didn't they end?
Yeah, that never really took off.
And then Jinx World, they did that a few years ago. That's dead too, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, Bendis always.
Imprint that was DC.
I don't know. Didn't he do that in Marvel too? Right, like.
Bendis is one of those to me right now. Like, this is a joke, guys, but Bendis is like one of those like words that you like can't say in college, like because you don't want to trigger somebody. To me right now, like it's a trigger word for me right now. When somebody says Bendis, like I need to go to the quiet room.
Dan Slott from a couple years ago.
Yes, you're exactly right, man. And it used to be the exact opposite.
But tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, so. What are you guys going to be picking up? What's your one pick for tomorrow, Brian McClay?
Skip me real quick.
What's your one pick for tomorrow, Alberto Jefe? Every issue of what book?
El Muto Beardo.
El Muto Beardo. Yes, I got to ask you guys one question before I get into this. McClay, what program do Jedis use to open PDF files?
I knew this was coming.
What is it?
Adobe One Kenobi?
Yes. And oh my God, is this week's Star Wars heaven going on? Now, I'm going to share my screen because thank you, Brian McClay. You've inspired me because I've got two pure cover buys this week, and I am in love with these because how many people are going to be ordering Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters #5? And I don't recall if this was a ratio variant. I don't know if it's cover A, but this cover is phenomenal in my opinion with Book of Boba Fett just on the horizon this, December, I think. That's a stellar cover. But you want to know what the sleeper hit for me is this week? This is a sleeper hit, especially with The news of Ahsoka Tano's show in the horizon coming up in the future. This is probably the dopest 50th anniversary Lucasfilm variant they've done out of this whole entire series. With Anakin and Ahsoka on the cover with that purple background.
I like
This
it.
is
Yeah.
this
I
week
just
for
hate
me is a
Hayden
pure
Christensen as that character. It's so bad.
what?
That cover is great, but you know what cover is even better?
Share your screen.
I'll show you.
This is a pure art buy for me this week in Star Wars.
I love this cover right here even better than that cover. That is freaking beautiful, man. That is absolutely gorgeous. That is a amazing Boba Fett cover.
It
This
is. It's one of the best one in the series that they've had in the War of the Bounty Hunters. We talked about it on It's Drunken Chat last Friday. I said I don't think many people are talking about this with Book of Boba Fett on the horizon. I am digging that cover.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. And then here's the when you were talking about the problem with this, and tell me if I'm wrong. Shout out to the Dark Side crew on the Flipside channel. They were talking about this cover the other day, and aren't these don't show up like this? They have some weird.
Yeah, I don't know if this is final art. It could have a gold. It could have a gold border all the way around.
That's what it has, a gold border. Yes, you're exactly right. And so it ruins it. That gold border ruins it. Like, why would you do that? So that's gonna make me mad, and it makes me just think like this cover is just so much more.
I still think having Hayden Christensen's Anakin ruins it.
I like Hayden Christensen's Anakin, man.
Yeah, I do
always
too.
like it.
I do too.
Yeah, he gets a bad rap.
Yeah,
Not
Jar Jar
really.
Binks is
Sold out.
better than him.
Sold out at Midtown again. Container sales.
that was a kick in the you know what.
Yeah.
He was terrible. I think objectively, like.
Oh damn!
Here's an interesting one. I love this Fantastic Four cover, this Halloween cover. I just think that's just such a great cover. I love the way that they have the whole cover looks great. The trade dress, everything about this cover to me is great. And I rarely buy Fantastic Four stuff or Dan Slott stuff, but this is a cool cover. But for me, the book, and I've been talking about this for a while. So Eric Larson is taking over the Ant storyline writing and everything. Mario Gully is out. If you guys don't know the story of Mario Gully and Ant, there's a really good channel on YouTube. I want to say it's like Dr. Nerd or something like that, and he does a little commentary on the whole story about Mario Gully coming up and thinking of this character in prison and writing the initial comic in prison and coming out of prison and shopping it and it getting picked up by Image and how it shot up like crazy. It got a very early cover from J. Scott Campbell and like all this buzz, and it just never happened. And Mario Gully just kept one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. And it just never ended up getting written, and to the point where Eric Larson just bought the rights from Mario Gully and is taking over the story writing because a lot of people just love this character for some reason. And I grew up reading this character back in the day, Arkham. I think it was what was the started with an A, the publisher that first published it, but it went to Image for a little while. It's a crazy character and a crazy story about the creator and everything. If you get a chance, check it out. So I'm very interested to see. I'm not a fan of Eric Larson nowadays. I think he's kind of his writing isn't that great and his art really isn't that great anymore to me.
Yeah. It's like they're just letting him. Oh, just do Savage Dragon. You got it.
Just do whatever you want, man, and whatever, And he just does some weird stuff, but he's one of the best, and he's one of the GOATs. And his Spider-Man run is still one of my favorite all-time Spider-Man runs. And so I really am interested to see where they take the whole Ant story and the character, and what world they're going to put her in.
Is her hand on that building thing?
Looks like it, right?
That's weird.
Yeah, that was weird. So cool stuff.
Tomberlin. Did he freeze up on us?
Oh, he did.
Oh.
That's impressive. Oh,
Yeah, that was impressive.
He's like, oh, they picked me. I'm out. Dan.
I guess I'll go for Maze Book issue 2 by Jeff Lemire because it's I feel like it's gonna be a classic, and I don't know yet, but it reminds me of Jonathan Safran Foer's Everything is Illuminated and Paul Auster's City of Glass. It just reminds me a lot of like these super philosophical kind of inward stories that are very Kafka-esque, and so yeah, I want to see if issue 2 is show, because you don't really know what the hell's going on in issue 1. It's not very clear. So issue 2, we're gonna start entering that mystery, and I just hope it's and Lemire, so we'll see. I'm looking forward to that book.
Yeah, mine's a fandom reader pick. And I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. Love Evil Dead series, Army of Darkness, and we get that issue number 2 for Army of Darkness 1979, where we got Ash in 1979 New York. So issue number 2, creator of Philadelphia. If you like Philadelphia, this is one series you might want to pick up as well. And there's some great covers for it. You got that Tony Fleek's Army of Darkness cover for it. There's like a Walking Dead homage. Dynamite likes to do a lot of great covers and a lot of the same cover in different ratios. But just from a Bruce Campbell fanboy perspective, Army of Darkness 1979 number 2 is my pick. Just in time.
I'm having massive technical difficulties tonight. So Electric Black Caravan is my pick. I don't know if anybody picked it, but
nope.
It's a great story. I think it's got a lot of potential, like a Tales. Okay, I got you, man. I got you. Like a
Brush your
Tales.
teeth and go to bed.
Is that issue 3? Is that issue 4 or something? Or
No,
issue...
it's like it's a whole different series. It's going to like bridge the gap between Electric Black and Electric Black Presents, and it also will give the origin of the Electric Black store itself. So could be a big issue if the series does what I think it can do down the line. So definitely one to watch. And there is one of those VHS variants that wasn't up in price like some of the other ones you've seen. So that was kind of surprising to me as well. But definitely my pick, and one I think could do well long term.
A lot of great picks.
I like it.
Cantankerous talk about no one left to fight. But Tony, did you pick?
I didn't. No. Andy, I like that pick though. I do. Both the Black Caravan imprint from Scout and just a lot of other Scout books in general. They've really been flying under the radar for a long time, but they've got some very interesting stuff that I don't know. It just has to get in front of the right, producer to all of a sudden get an option and get some press. But
Totally
I'm going to go complete polar opposite of that though, and go with a mutant book. And I'm sorry, I'm on my iPad. I can't share my screen right now, but X-Men number 4 is, I don't know if it's truly a first appearance, but it's got the Headless Horseman. It's got an epic cover. Supposedly a cameo of another character that's popping up.
It's just going to be one other X-Men 4. People are going to be looking. What is that? Will that be a third one now?
No, I don't know. But, speculation-wise, I mean, aside from the number 1s, there haven't been a lot of X books that have been popping up on lists or characters that people have been chasing, or even variant covers for a while. I mean, for most of the Hickman run. So I don't know. I don't know. It's an X book, so it's going to have a big print run no matter what. But that is kind of an epic cover. And
cool David Nakayama variant to that.
Yeah,
too.
and they got one of the Jusco Masterpieces variants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those. So if it's an epic cover and some sort of first appearance, that becomes kind of an important thing.
I do like the cover of that Headless Horseman cover you picked out.
Yeah, that cover's pretty badass. I'll say that too.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. And if you're watching us on Rewind, let us know what your new comic book day picks are But that's just going to leave us now with one more thing. All right, Andy, Beardo, one more thing. What do you got for us?
One more thing is Motor City Comic Con is this weekend. We've got all the cons kind of crammed together this year, pretty much. But Motor City Comic Con, yeah, Detroit, Michigan, Novi, Michigan, I should say, Novi, is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm gonna be there. So will many other people from the community, and I can't wait to meet and hang out with a ton of people and maybe hunt for some great books. There's a lot of really cool craft beer scene places around there and a lot of really good food, so it's gonna be a blast.
Tony, what do you got for us?
This Friday, we are doing. I half the time when I'm on here, I shill my whatnot sale, but hey, that's my one thing, man. We did this once before. We have packs. We're gonna treat them like trading cards. There are 3 slabs in each one of these blue-green packs. 6 green, 6 blue. We're gonna give away a first appearance of Viv Vision, the Sook variant that's going for about $800. We've got there's a Young Avengers 1 9.8 in here. There's a Jeremy Renner signed 9.8 of Hawkeye 1.
Whoa.
There's I don't know, I can't even think of all the stuff in there, but there's a lot of really cool books in there. So I'm excited. The first time we did it, bonkers. We're looking to repeat. It'll be 8:00 Central on this coming Friday.
Awesome.
Yeah. Mine is just make sure and give everybody on here a follow, whether it's on their Instagrams or on their YouTube channels. This panel puts out a lot of good stuff that if you're paying attention to it, it'll really help you out in the long run. So just check everybody out. That's all I got.
Nice. Dank, what do you got for us?
All right, so I just did an unboxing recently of a CGC slab that I sent, and I did a video about this, but I sent this already, and I bought it from the shelf, and it had a restored grade because they said I color touched it, and that never happened, right? So I sent it in again, and it was an 8.5 restored, and now I got an 8 with the blue label. So, FCGC, because obviously they don't know what the F they're doing. When I called them about customer service, they thought they said there were a group of people came to a consensus that there was color touch, but there wasn't, and then so it makes
back and tell them that
I don't know. I mean, because it makes me wonder though, when they have the AI grading, right? It's going to put into question every single human grade because they're so inconsistent, and then we're going to have to re-slab everything. Anyway, also in that video,
digital.
In the video, I'm doing a giveaway of these 2 slabs from 90s goodness of Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead, and really easy to win, free. But all of my giveaways are actually click funnels for different channels. None of my giveaways are really from me. There's just like you go in. There's in the description. There's links to go to other channels, like, subscribe, and comment on those channels, and you'll be entered to win these newsstand 90s goodness. And these 2 properties are being rebooted right now. They were supposed to come out actually this year, but because of COVID. So these are totally cool keys, and I send it international, no strings, and I'll draw it in like a week or so, send it out when I feel like it, and if you don't like any of these terms, I will return the $0 entry fee that you have. I guarantee I will return that. So check it out and win these free slabs.
Awesome.
Do you still have
links
the
to everyone's channel on Instagram that's on this panel is in the description of this video as well. Check out Dank Comics on YouTube for sure.
What's your question, Tony?
I was just gonna ask, do you still have the scratch and sniff sticker from that Ren and Stimpy?
I do, yeah. You don't give them the poly bag, so I had to open it carefully, and I got them. It doesn't smell like anything anymore. So I've been like kind of sticking them in my butt while I go to sleep. So kind of. They're supposed to smell like butt.
It's good that you gave that explanation because there would have been a lot of confused people.
Oh, I mean, or that other thing.
Spray with liquid ass.
Remember those back in the day? You could buy those little stink bomb bottles, and
Yep.
then you had people would throw them, but the key with the cheat code for it was to like just break the top open and keep your thumb over it and just blow it in people's like vicinity, and you can like keep them all day. Oh man!
Now you just spray liquid ass.
Yeah.
90s goodness, yo. This is all 90s goodness.
Yeah. My one more thing is check out my IG, like Andy was saying, and go check out my eBay store. I just put all my stuff up on my eBay store. I cleared it out. I hadn't been paying attention to it, and I'm starting to put stuff on there. A lot of everything up there is some of the things are Tim Walker prices, but most stuff is lowest prices of buy it nows, and a lot of them have make offers available, but a lot of crazy stuff is going to go up there over the next couple of weeks to try and put some extra dough in my pocket for Baltimore. So if you guys are into any of this stuff, go check it out. A lot of slabs. There's going to be a lot. I think I'm going to put a ton of Adam Warlock stuff up for just auction. There you go, Brian. How about that one? There's your Paul Green.
Love me some Paul Green.
Yeah, this is. I didn't realize how limited this was. Limited to 100, and it was a Phoenix Comic Con. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, go check it out, guys. You can
disclaimer: the sagas aren't for sale.
I don't.
Sorry.
There's some Tim Walker crazy prices up there, but there's some also crazy stuff. For example, this Deebo Samuel numbered to 5 gold vinyl Prism rookie for any of you 49er fans that want to make an offer, or some Michael Jordan and soccer cards too. So check them out.
He's on my fantasy team.
There you go. There you go.
Everybody go buy McClay's Saga books before I do, please.
I want to horribly say right now my Giants are down 2-0 in the 4th inning, hoping they come back. But also want to say a lot of times you hear call to action, like and subscribe. I don't want to say that. Here's the call to action. Andy we've just shown, is probably one of the biggest Saga fans. His objective is to interview Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples on his channel. So if anyone knows how we can make that happen, hashtag Comic Man Andy, whatever we need to do, get a hold of Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples to get Andy's interview. I'd imagine it might be a little Chris Farley Saturday Night Live. That was awesome. Nah, I'm kidding. He'll do a great job interviewing that. So let's make that happen. And luckily, Cantankerous, want to thank him for the super chat, but also say F you for saying go Dodgers. But other than that, appreciate everyone coming into the chat. Appreciate everyone that watches this on replay. And thank you guys so much. Thank you for the great panelists. We will see you guys next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. to discuss more topics. That being said, this is Brian Superman's Comics. See you guys in the next video.
Peace.
Look, they talking like they don't know a king when they see one. See him in person, he take it back like a refund. Ballin' with my brothers, all my playing D1. Daily checking chicken, he gon' spin it, watch it rerun.